It is 5:30, so we are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And the first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is introductions. We will start with Mr. Bushu.
Kevin Bushu.
Griffin Ott.
Greg Eating.
Rachel Wade.
Bill Scaletta.
Scott Allen.
Lori Van Koenig.
Welcome to all of you who are here for tonight's meeting. Next is approval of our agenda. Board members, any questions or comments about tonight's agenda? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next up is approval of our consent action items, including monthly financial statements and some revisions to the calendar, which the revisions to the calendar was just changing the start of the second semester due to the snow days. So nobody freak out that there's anything meaningful happening to the calendar yet. Any questions on the consent agenda? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
And this is a roll call vote. So Mr. Bushu?
Aye.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Scaletta?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Van Koenig?
Aye.
And I vote aye. All right, now on to what is most assuredly everybody's favorite part of every Board of Education meeting. Good news about our schools. What do we have tonight? I think we've got a crew from Hollywood, if I'm
We
not
have
mistaken.
Hollywood Elementary in the house. You guys can come up. We have teacher Mandy Marquardt here to do some information about A Leader in Me. Is that right?
This is why I don't like
All right. Well, instead of hearing me speak, keep going. All right. We have a wonderful opportunity to talk about an upcoming event, kind of a tradition at Hollywood, but this year it's going to be even bigger and better. And I'll let these wonderful students from the student leadership team discuss that. So here we go.
Good evening, school board members. We are members of the Hollywood Student Lighthouse team. Each year, all students at Hollywood participate in Give Back Day. We know that small acts of kindness can make a big difference in the world, and this is our chance to do that. It is important for our Hollywood leaders to know that even as kids, we can synergize on meaningful projects that give back to people in our community who are less fortunate than us.
Our first Give Back Day took place in 2015. We started with projects around the school like helping pick up the playground, cleaning common areas, and planting in the garden. Over the years, we started adding in projects that would extend our reach outside of school and help the community. Some of our past projects have included making toys for animals at the Humane Society, collecting food for local pantries, creating care packages for local first responders and patients at DeVos, painting flower pots, and adding flowers for nursing home residents. The big project last year was synergizing with Lincoln Township Library to create unique garden poles. These are on display helping beautify the library's outdoor spaces.
This year, Mrs. Hughes, a fourth grade teacher at Hollywood, applied for the Education Excellence Award of the SET-SEG Foundation and the Michigan Association of School Boards. We have been awarded a $2,500 grant. We have big plans for all that money.
We are still in the early stages of planning, but have some really great ideas of things we would like to accomplish with this generous gift. Hollywood students have always enjoyed making care packages. We can help many groups this year, like first responders, nursing home residents, hospital patients, and more. We can make birthday boxes full of all the necessities needed for a party that we can donate to local food banks. Another idea is to paint ceiling tiles that can be installed in the elementary school sick rooms or local pediatric offices. Our big idea this year is to create little free libraries. We want to invite Hollywood families to help build these. Then students can decorate them. We can set aside some funds to help maintain them over the years. With help from local governments, we will place these throughout the community so more people will have access to free reading material. These are just some of the amazing things we would like to accomplish this year.
Give Back Day is one of the events that Hollywood students look forward to every year. We are proud to share with you our ideas for making the most of this amazing grant and how we can spread kindness way beyond the Lakeshore School District. We would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, I know we've got some. Who's got a question?
Well, first, I want to just tell you what great speakers you are and how you presented that so well.
How does it make you guys feel when you get to do these give backs and see the effects that it does for the community?
It makes us feel really happy because we spend a lot of time and work getting Give Back Day prepared, and when everyone at school around us is saying, hey, this is fun, it makes us feel really great inside.
What are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
I liked making the garden poles for the library. Last year for Give Back Day, making the poles for the library was fun, but there was also lots of other fun activities that we did, like painting ping pong balls was we made them as cat toys, and they were really fun.
So where do you put the free libraries?
That is something we're still working on.
Okay, gotcha.
I have a contact at Lincoln Township. I'm gonna call Spring Lake, possibly get in touch with somebody at Bermuda and just see where there's a need for them. Where I've also talked about putting one on our playground. Mr. McIntyre's old school had one, and they had, I think you said they had like the beanbag chairs and things like that. So with this amount of money, I mean, we can hopefully do, 2 or 3 of them at least.
If you're looking for a spot downtown Baroda, I have one for you.
Yeah.
So you shared a lot of ideas for what you would do for Give Back Day this year. Who gets to make the final decision about what you do for Give Back Day?
So this is not our whole SLT meeting, but we have a lot more, like 16.
Wow.
They couldn't all make it. But at our meetings, Ms. Marcourt announces what we're going to be talking about in brainstorming, and we talk about it and think about ideas, and then when we've thought of all the ideas, we vote on which ones we think are the best, and then Ms. Marcourt tells them to Mr. McIntyre, and he says which ones he likes the best.
Come here. What? And then we come here.
Yeah, and then we come here.
Very good.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Great job.
Well, thank you.
for being here tonight.
Thank you. Very good.
All right, before I sit back down, I know she doesn't like any recognition, but Ms. Marquardt does an amazing job with the student leadership team, and she just runs just a ton of things with the kids, and it's all kind of student-led, so she does a really great job.
And I'll
deserves
just throw in, I
some
think it takes a little bit of work to get that SATSEG and MASB
Yeah.
award, so thank you for all that work.
Did all of that.
Yeah.
She came to me and she's like, hey, do you
Yeah, I said thank you to her, and she said, no, talk to Mrs. Marquardt.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the superintendent's informational report.
So it's only been a few weeks since our last board meeting, so this one's a little bit short and sweet. I'm excited to say that we have some movement on our 2023 bond that I can report. As you will learn tonight, our second bid package is ready to go, which includes some of our big ticket items, like redoing our parking lots. We also learned that the playground equipment that has been on order will be delivered soon, with installation starting right away, weather permitting. More weather like this would be nice. All projects are on or below budget, which is great news, and you'll hear from David in just a few minutes about that. This month, we'll be sending out a flyer to inform voters about the upcoming vote for our sinking fund. Absentee ballots will be available near the end of February, making this the right time to send out this information. As a reminder, this is a renewal and it will not add any new taxes. This past week, we kicked off a process to develop a new strategic plan for the district. A few board members and district administrators met with a consultant from Mesa to discuss the process on how to gather feedback from our community. We will be using a tool called Thought Exchange, which allows participants to provide feedback and to share thoughts on other participants' feedback. So it kind of builds on each other, which is pretty cool. Our goal is to have a strategic plan created by the end of June, and I'll be providing some updates, regular updates to the board between now and then. And finally, we are into the tournament time of the year for our winter sports teams. One highlight this past week, the wrestling team won the district championship, beating St. Joe in the last moments of the meet, I believe on the very last wrestler of the night. Yeah. And if you have a chance to listen to Joe Jason's broadcast on that, it makes your hairs stand up. So very fun, and we are gearing up for all the tournament runs, and that really makes the high school campus kind of a fun spot to be this time of year. So that's what I have for tonight.
Excellent. I would just echo the sentiments around the strategic plan. I know strategic planning is not usually people's most favorite thing to engage in, but I really appreciated our session last week. Just the really thoughtful and insightful dialogue, and I am excited to see what we come up with. Okay, Board of Education reports. First up is Facilities and Finance. Mr. Att, would you share that, please?
Sure. On February 6, 2024, the Facilities and Finance Committee consisted of Rachel Wade, Greg Eating, Tracy Althouse, and myself. Items discussed included, but were not limited to the following. David Innes from OAK virtually presented bond bid package number 2, which is the parking lot package. He will be presenting live and in person tonight to the board. Tracy reviewed the monthly financial statements. No items of concern were noted. And our annual enrollment projections were discussed. Tracy will be presenting this as well as Bulletin 1014 comparison next month.
Thank you. From the Policy Committee, Mr. Allen, give us a second reading of some policies.
Yes, so bear with me as we go through all these policies. Policy Committee met on Thursday, February 8th. Present at the meeting were Lori Von Koenig, Bill Scaletta, Greg Eating, and myself. Committee discussed several policies that included minor wording updates, reviewed the employee perception survey data for the district, and discussed a staff issue related to policy. The committee also reviewed the district's Return to Learn plan and ESSER funds requirement that is posted on the website. As first presented last month, the following policy changes are being brought to the board for second reading and adoption. And these are from the Neola September 2023, volume 38. Policy 1540, administrative staff reduction recalls, is a new policy, addresses the existing administrative staff reduction recalls. Policy 2370.01, online blended learning program, is revised to reflect current online and blended learning rules and requirements, which allows a district to switch to online learning in certain circumstances for not more than 15 days. Policy 7540.03, student technology, acceptable use and safety, is revised, includes optional language addressing artificial intelligence and to include a cross-reference to policy 5500, student conduct. Policy 8305, information security, is a technical correction, includes a cross-reference to bylaw 0100 definitions. Policy 8531, free and reduced price meals, is revised, addresses the free meal money allocation statutory policy that states what the district must do to be eligible for the funding and if they qualify for federal free or reduced cost meal reimbursement. Then these policies from Neola November 2023 special update. Policy 0122, board powers, is necessary due to the elimination of many topics from the list of prohibited subjects of bargaining. Policy 1420, school administrator evaluation, relates to administrator evaluations. There are many changes to the statute which goes into effect July 1st, 2024. Policy 3131, staff reduction recalls, relates to staff reductions and recalls which are no longer prohibited, subject of bargaining. Policy 3142, probationary teachers. The new laws changed the rating system effective July 1st, 2024, which in turn created the need to revise the probationary teacher policy to accurately reflect the new rating system. Policy 3220, professional staff evaluation. Senate Bill 395 and 396 were recently signed into law by Governor Whitmer. These bills dramatically changed the evaluation system effective July 1st, 2024. And then these are reissued policies. Policy 3120, employment of professional staff. This relates to employment of professional staff, although the changes to para remove the issue of hiring after a staffing or program reduction from the list of prohibited subjects of bargaining. The changes do not affect this policy. Policy 3139, staff discipline, teacher discipline, and discharge is no longer a prohibited subject of bargaining, and the changes to the statute remove the reference to arbitrary or capricious as the standard for the discipline and discharge. Policy 3140, termination and resignation, addresses the termination and resignation of professional staff. It also already references the negotiated collectively bargained agreement, the Teacher Tenure Act, and individual contract is governing these decisions and therefore is compliant with the changes to the law.
Good job. Thank you.
Could you repeat that?
I could for you.
Yeah.
Board members, any questions about any of these policies?
Well, just a comment. I think, as we go through this and with the changing landscape now of laws and regulations, I'm so glad that we're contracted with Neola to stay on top of that, dissect it, give us options, and have us still have the flexibility on some of those, but to make sure we're keeping up with the changes in government, which without them would be next to impossible to do. So thank you for all the work on these.
Yeah, and a lot of it has been just little changes in wording and things
Yep.
like that for the majority of them, but there were the few that were just due to statutory changes.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with some of the changes to the prohibited items of bargaining
Yep.
that are coming up. So we're just trying to make sure our policies are in line with what. the
And
law
changes
says.
to the evaluation systems that
Correct.
impacted a
Yep.
lot of them as well.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I would accept a motion to approve everything that Scott just read.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining for any reason? Excellent. All right, moving on. MASB Board of Directors election. So I will just read this. 4 candidates are running for the Michigan Association of School Boards Board of Directors for a 3-year term that will represent Region 6, which is our region. So the 4 candidates are Robert Becker, who serves the Berry ISD in Berry County, Pamela Dickinson, who is the incumbent. She currently serves on the Comstock Public Schools Board. Elizabeth Odell, who serves on the St. Joseph County ISD Board in St. Joseph County, and Andrew Robinson, who serves on the board of Berry and Risa here in Berrien County. So we all received, I know we got emails from 3 out of the 4 candidates, and Greg had shared with us a packet of information that came from MASB. Throwing it out there, any thoughts as to, or any recommendations as to who you believe we should select as our candidate to vote for the MASB board?
I looked through all the packets that we received, and they all look like very good candidates, very comparable in many aspects. So looking at all that, I don't think we've had any issues with the person representing us, Pamela Dickinson. So that would be my recommendation, just because she actually has a ton of experience in multiple roles with the board that she's on, as well as serving with MASB. So that was what I looked at, just based on everybody being kind of similar.
Sure, thank you for that perspective. Others?
I too agree with what he said. The thing that impressed me was all of the certifications. I know that takes a lot of time. And the positions that she held, and she's had 10 years of experience. And I think that it's important that we have someone that has had the education and that has the experience right now in our current time of education.
Yes, thank you for that perspective. Any other comments or thoughts? Anyone want to lift up a different candidate? I appreciated that of the 4 candidates, she's the only one who serves on a local school board as opposed to an ISD or RESA. And I understand that that representation is also important, but ISD or RESA boards function very differently than boards like us. And so I appreciate having, making sure that that voice is represented on the MASB board.
It's a really good point, Rachel.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments? If not, I would accept a motion to approve Pamela Dickinson as our candidate to vote for the MASB board.
So moved.
Support?
And this is a roll call vote, so Mr. Bushu?
Aye.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Scaletta?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Von Koenig?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you all for taking the time to look through those candidate packets. I know it's difficult when they're folks that we don't know and don't have that daily opportunity to experience. I appreciate the time that you put into researching those candidates and making that discernment. All right, next up, our bond bid approval requests.
So we have in the House, David Innes from Owen, Ames, and Kimball, OAK is what we probably call them. And he's going to go over the 5 bids as part of bid package number 2, which is the parking lot replacement for the bond project, with a recommendation that the board approve the following bidders totaling $2,976,452. Mr. Innes, go ahead.
Alrighty. Stop me if at any time you guys have any questions or want me to elaborate more on something. But as Greg said, just kind of going over the bidders that we had for this bid pack 2, which was more or less the redoing a lot of the parking lots within the district, middle school, high school, the elementaries, as well as the transportation. So with that, we had our earthwork bidders. We had 3 bidders in that category. Low bid being H&K Excavating out of Kalamazoo. Next bid package we had in this series was for pavement, and we had 2 bidders for that. Low bidder being Reith Riley, actually out of their Benton Harbor office, so kind of a local, more local bidder that we like to see that kind of coverage. Next tier being fencing, which is Fence Masters, which is within the district, so we liked seeing that and had good conversations with them. Bid category 4, site concrete, we had 2 bidders. The low bidder being out of Kalamazoo, Early and Associates. They have a good history with OAK and myself included, so glad to see them come this way and work with the district. So, and lastly, we had an electrical package with 2 bidders, and then Bowden Electric, also a local bidder, was low once we got kind of post bidding and walking through that interview process. So happy to have them on the list as well. And kind of, yeah, with that overall kind of update, we did have 3 of the 5 categories that had more or less local bidders and local award, which we like to see at most of our districts when we can do that. And we did, as Greg mentioned, we did come in under budget allocation. So with that, I don't know, Rachel, if you would like to read that, or if you guys have any questions prior to kind of a motion to proceed on that.
What, with the electrical package, it looked like Bowden wasn't the low bid necessarily. We're pretty close. Was there something like in another part of that put them into the lower,
That's correct. So one thing we always do after bids are opened is we post bid interview. We'll ask the low, or if 2 bidders are fairly close to each other, we will kind of call them in. We do it in a Teams meeting now with kind of today's technology, but we'll spend 30 to 45 minutes with them walking through, what they saw in the drawings, and also we ask, hey, you've looked at this. Do you have any thoughts on your end of how we could be more efficient about this? And we allow those bidders to kind of reap those rewards. They're kind of voluntary alternates or adjustments that they'd like to see, and kind of with that conversation, that's what allowed Bowden to kind of go below the original open bid low.
Gotcha. Perfect.
We went through all of these in a decent amount of detail at Finance and Facilities last week, and just appreciated the perspective that you have, not only in having worked with several of these before, but also in the conversations with Nick too about like exactly what this work is and why this part of it is important and this part is important, and just helping us develop a better understanding for this process, and really feeling like there has been a a lot of really intentional thought gone into looking at all of these bids and determining what was the best course of action for our district. So thank you to both of you for the work that you've done and the way you explained it to people like me who know nothing about asphalt.
Of course, no, thank you. Thank you for the time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just noticed that, the two biggies with earthwork and the asphalt and paving kind of, those numbers came in really nicely. So we'd love to see that continue for the duration of the bond. It would be a great option for us.
Do everything I can.
You've set the bar really high for yourself.
thanks,
I'm glad you brought that up, Greg, because that's another thing that I never would have thought of was really the timing on when you release these particular bids and when you get them in and what that means for the quotes that come in, and just the strategy and the thought that went into that as well to make sure that we're getting the best prices we can to be as good of stewards of these dollars as possible. I appreciated that explanation as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
This is great
No
news.
problem.
Yeah, very good.
All right, so for the sake of transparency, I'll just read all of these numbers so that it's out in the ethos, I guess. So the bid from H&K Excavating was for $986,755. The bid from Reith Riley Construction, $1,803,570. From Fence Masters, $38,027. Early and Associates, $65,900, and Bowden Electrical Construction, $82,200. So as Greg had said earlier, a total of $2,976,452. So if there are no other questions or comments, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
And this is a roll call vote. So Mr. Bushu?
Aye.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Scaletta?
Aye.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Von Koenig?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Probably never, well, you probably have seen people this excited about parking lots before in your line of work, but maybe the people out there have never seen people this excited about parking lots. But I bet some of them are just as excited about it as we are.
I do know that Dave's got to head out to another meeting here in a few minutes, so you're welcome to go, Dave. But thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay, Mr. Eating, some personnel things to discuss.
Yeah, we have a couple of personnel changes to report, and I'm excited to see Miss Carol Fecky in the house tonight. She is filling in as Principal Stewart for the remainder of the school year. You want to come up and give a little background of yourself? Well, it's exciting stuff, I know. It just said that right here. I thought maybe Sue, gave you a little heads up, but apparently we have a packed house, obviously, and everyone wants to hear what's going on. I'm kidding.
Can
But
I start by bragging about Stewart?
yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
I'd really like to do. So we were chosen for the NAEP test, which you are selected for. It's the national test that you hear all the time about. This percentage of fourth graders are reading on grade level. So you're selected for the NAEP, you can't say no. We were selected for the NAEP, we were very excited about that. And our fourth graders did the NAEP last Wednesday. There were, out of our 75 fourth graders, there were 48 kiddos selected, because then they do another selection. And half of those took math and half took reading. And at the end of the day, the NAEP assessors that came in from Lansing could not have been more complimentary. They just said our kids were fabulous, they worked really hard, they were super kind the entire time and very respectful. And we were just really, really proud of them, because they took an hour-and-a-half test that we don't get to see the results of. It just goes into a big bin. But the kids were so excited to represent fourth graders across the nation, so that was super cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
Just wanted to brag about that.
That's awesome.
That was really, really cool.
That's great.
A little background, really, really quick. I have over 20 years in educational leadership. I've led high school buildings and worked with Bill before.
That's right.
And I've run K2 buildings and a K2 and a 3-5 building. And I'm here now and loving it. Your families are fabulous. The kiddos are amazing. Staff is incredible. It's a great place to be, and I appreciate you having me.
We're thrilled to have you.
We are, and I think we should say thank you to Susan, because I believe her connections are the ones who got you in the door. So I appreciate that very much. Thanks for taking the job.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carol helped us. Carol helped us with our programs and studies back in the day when she was still with the Skill Center in Benton Harbor before you went to the ISD. So, yeah, and did pathway books and school to work stuff. So, welcome.
Thanks, Carol.
It was.
At least it was a story that wasn't about any of us, because he tells some of those too.
He has some too.
That he does. That he does.
We also have two more staff changes. Allie Brown recently started as first grade teacher at Roosevelt to replace Cassie King, who took a principal position actually with New Buffalo Schools. We're excited for Cassie and moving over, but tough time middle of the year, and we were able to find several different options for that. And excitedly, in the middle of the year, we had several good choices. And Allie Brown, who I believe was student teaching for us at Stewart. So excited that she's moving in. Allie got her bachelor's degree from Ferris. Amy Krengel has accepted the middle school art teaching position. She replaced Morgan Engel, who shifted to be an art teacher at the high school. Amy received her bachelor's degree from Concordia and has recently relocated to Michigan after teaching in Texas. It was actually a really great opportunity for us to snag somebody moving into the district. I believe she's moving into Bridgman. Yeah, so yeah, we took one from Bridgman, which is great. I'll take that as a win.
Yeah.
So yeah, very excited about these opportunities, especially mid-year when it's harder to find candidates who are available. So
Yeah. All right.
Great job, Susan.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's not easy. We're fortunate to get very good candidates even at the middle of the year, so
Yeah. Yep.
very lucky.
Any questions? If not, I would accept a motion to approve these hires.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, moving right on. Overnight trip. Mr. Eating, what do you have for us?
yeah, we have one overnight trip request, the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. I've received requests from the middle school principal, Ms. Arend, for about 80 8th grade students to make the annual trip to Washington, D.C. from March 13 to 16 to align with the American History and Government curriculum. They'll be traveling via charter bus. It's a long bus ride
Yeah.
With 80.
with 80
Eighth
smelly
graders.
middle schoolers. So
How does that number compare to previous years? Is that right on track, or is that larger?
It's actually a little bit lower.
Okay,
Yeah. Last year's group, there were 92 of us.
okay.
that's better. 80's
Awesome.
better than 92. I can tell you
Board
that.
members, any questions? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, last item of business. Did we have anyone for public comment tonight?
We did not.
We did not. Nobody signed up beforehand? All right.
I will just have to make a note that several administrators are not present tonight, and all good reasons, but one was because I watched all of them last week do multiple nights of one thing after another, and I said, no reason to be here, don't come tonight, take the night off. So, yeah, I was a little bit nervous because I think I saw Greg Younger here all the way through Saturday. I'm not sure if he slept here or not, but he needs to find a good night and take a nap. So,
Yes,
yeah.
for certain. All right, that was it for our agenda. So I would accept a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, everybody.
Good.
Thanks for coming, everyone.